Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, Zuma accuses some protesters of racism. Speaking at a memorial to an anti-apartheid leader, the South African president branded some aspects of rallies against him as showing beliefs that he believed had been buried. Also, the streets of Kinshasa are quiet after the government banned public protests called by the opposition. Political tensions over delayed elections remain. And we take a look at Kenya's big push for clean energy and power efficiency. It's one of the countries leading the continent's race towards solar energy. We turn first to South Africa, where after tens of thousands of people marched to demand the resignation of President Jacob Zuma, he's hit back, accusing some of his critics of racism. He's still in the firing line over the disruption caused by his latest cabinet reshuffle. Nicolas Chemin tells us more.
Jacob Zuma spoke at an annual memorial service for anti-apartheid hero Chris Hani. It was his first public response to Friday's protests, during which tens of thousands of people called for his resignation.
The marches that took place last week demonstrated that racism is real, with some posters depicting black people as baboons. It is clear that some of our white compatriots regard black people as being lesser human beings.
Zuma did not specify where the posters were seen. Both black and white South Africans took part in the marches in several major cities. They said they were angered by years of high unemployment and corruption scandals. And the recent sacking of respected Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan exasperated them. His dismissal led the agencies Fitch and Standard & Poor's to cut South Africa's sovereign credit rating to junk status. On Sunday, Gordhan said the ANC now risks losing the next general election in 2 years' time.
If we can't unite amongst ourselves, there's no hope for us in 2019. Remember that. We can carry on squabbling. We can carry on squabbling amongst us. We will lose the confidence of people from all walks of life, from all over South Africa. We don't want to.
Next week, there will be a parliamentary motion of no confidence in the president. But so far, Zuma has easily survived previous such votes. Despite being much criticised, analysts say that no one else within the ANC has, for the moment, a stronger backing.
Well, over the weekend, Congolese authorities banned political protests in response to a call by the main opposition party for more rallies against President Joseph Kabila. The injunction comes amidst political tensions over a stalled peace deal that's laid the groundwork for Kabila's exit and delayed elections to be held. The uncertainty and frustration saw Kinshasa come to a standstill on Monday.
The streets of Kinshasa were unusually quiet on Monday. Almost no traffic, no peaceful protest, with police deployed across key neighborhoods of the city. Some people just went on with their daily lives, but others would have liked to march.
You notice that all the opposition is demanding is jobs in government. They don't care about the interests of the people. I can't see any opposition leader here today. They're not serious. What's in it for the people?
I want to protest peacefully. It's a peaceful march. I want to show the world that many things don't work well in Congo.
The government was glad the initiative didn't pan out for the opposition. They called the protest attempt a huge flop.
The opposition wanted to show how popular they are, but we knew it wouldn't work, and it didn't. They might try to plan a few lootings here and there to draw the attention of the media, but their peaceful march was a complete failure.
The opposition says the heavy police and military deployment dissuaded their militants, who stayed home out of fear.
If these soldiers and policemen are deployed to protect the population, then why are they arresting people? Why are they firing their weapons? The government doesn't know what to do anymore, and we will keep on protesting.
The streets of Kinshasa will most likely come back to life as of Tuesday, but the political crisis continues. The presidential election is due to be held by the end of the year, but the government and the opposition is still yet to implement the deal signed 3 months ago that set out a roadmap to the polls.
Look now at some news in brief. Boko Haram insurgents have been blamed for a slew of attacks over the weekend. More than a dozen people were reportedly killed in Sanda-Wajiri, Ganai and Kolofata in Cameroon in attacks by the jihadists. The violence happened not far from a base for a multinational force that's been battling Boko Haram. Meanwhile, across the border in northeastern Nigeria, the extremists were accused of killing 8 loggers near Maiduguri, the city known as the group's birthplace. In Egypt, hundreds of mourners gathered for the funerals of the 45 Coptic Christians killed in extremist suicide bombings at churches in Alexandria and Tanta on Sunday. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the twin attacks and have threatened the country's Christian minority with more violence. The Coptic community has already been targeted several times recently. Many of Monday's mourners were fiercely critical of security services. Monday also saw Cairo declare a 3-month state of emergency. In Uganda, a university research fellow has been charged with cyber harassment after she called President Yoweri Museveni a pair of buttocks on Facebook. Dr. Stella Nyanzi repeatedly posted criticism of the leader and was banned from travelling abroad last month before reportedly being arrested last Friday. Rights activists are demanding her release and say her case highlights the difficulties of expressing dissent under the Museveni administration. Well, we turn our spotlight onto Kenya now, where there is a big push for developers to prioritise clean energy and power efficiency in new builds. It's one of the countries leading the continent's push towards solar energy, which is generally seen as being more cost-effective than grid-sourced power. Take a look.
It may look like an ordinary estate, yet all 400 houses in this residential community south of Nairobi are equipped with solar panels.
Now everyone is making sure that they install a solar system during the time of building.
The initiative, which is part of a greater push towards renewable energies in Kenya, has helped cut electricity costs by nearly half.
So we're able to have hot water throughout the day, depending on the usage, and also in the night.
Experts argue the fast-dropping costs of solar power, combined with plenty of sun and a huge demand for cheap electricity, hold huge economic potential for Kenya. An analysis that hasn't escaped authorities. The country introduced a regulation in 2012 forcing buildings using over 100 liters of water a day to install solar heaters. At Kenya's Climate Innovation Center, there are hopes similar legislation will soon follow.
Kenya, lying on the equator, has some of the best solar installation in the globe. If the solar energy is well harnessed, it could actually help in stability of our grid.
Each of these solar units costs about $800 to install, a high upfront cost compared to traditional fuels, yet experts say the technology could pay for itself in the long run. Experimentation with various solar uses is fast expanding in Kenya. Nairobi's Garden City Mall is already equipped with over 3,000 solar panels. The country also plans to invest $150 million this year to bring solar electricity to rural and remote communities.
Well, finally, a Kenyan husband and wife blitzed their way to victory in their respective races here in Paris on Sunday. Paul Nyong'ata won the city's men's marathon, whilst his wife, Purity Rionoripo, came out top in the women's race. Long Nyong'ata recorded his biggest career win with a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Rionoripo also seemed to get a bit of a boost by being in the City of Light. She smashed her personal best by almost 4 minutes, winning in 2 hours, 20 minutes and 55 seconds. I'd like to think that's a bit of the Paris touch there. Congratulations to both of them. Well, thank you very much for watching Eye on Africa. Remember, you can always get more news and headlines from the continent and around the world by checking out our website, www.france24.com. Otherwise, join us again next time if you can. Take care.